Where to buy land for pennies on the dollar with over-the-counter tax deeds. I'm going to talk about the 5 places that have the most land over the counter that you can go ahead and scoop up and buy these properties dirt cheap. So let's crack into this. If you're not familiar, an over-the-counter tax deed is a tax deed that doesn't sell at the tax deed auction. Okay. It could also be an over-the-counter tax lien. Bottom line, they're property that didn't sell at the auction. You can go and buy these properties literally for pennies on the dollar if you know where to look, how to find them, and how to go and buy them. So this is one of the most overlooked investments, like really in the world. And it's truly beautiful. You can buy these properties for literally as little as $50. So let's dive into it. So in the US, like we mentioned before, if you're up to date on the basics, there are 3,300 counties in the US. So some of the top 5 places to buy these over the counters. Number 1 is going to be the great state of Texas. Okay. So Texas has a tax deed sale the first Tuesday of every single month. Now, some of these places in Texas, they will just roll the property over to the next auction. But with 256 counties, there are lots of inventory just sitting there right now that you can go ahead and buy. So 3 of the largest counties in Texas, it's going to be Harris County, which is home to Houston, 2.3 million people, lots of auctions there. San Antonio is going to be Bextor County with 1.5 million. Then you're going to have Dallas with 1.3 million people. So these are going to be the largest areas that are going to have the most potential for over the counter. Now, that being said, a good thing to research is go and find in Texas some of the smaller counties as well, because it's those smaller counties sometimes might be a little less competitive. So that's really going to work in your favor because literally these properties are going to be sitting in the inventory. So let's go and move on here to number 2. Florida makes number 2 on the list for finding these cheap over-the-counter tax deeds. And Florida is unique because it is both a lien and a deed state. Okay. So unlike most places that are either a tax lien or a tax deed state, in Florida, if the tax lien doesn't redeem, it then rolls over to a tax deed sale. Okay. So often in Florida, these sales are also happening every single month. All right. So Florida has 67 counties within it. And the largest county is going to be Jacksonville, or the largest city, Jacksonville and Duval County with 892,000 people. The next largest city is Miami and Miami-Dade County with 2.8 million people. And then there's Tampa in Hillsborough County, 1.4 million people. So these are going to be perhaps the best spot to go and start. Give them a call. Give them a call the treasurers and ask them what happens to the properties that don't sell at the tax deed sale and start getting those lists. Now, some people might come on here and say, oh, it's nothing but junk left over. And you know what? They're 95% right. A lot of the time, the reason this stuff doesn't sell is because it's junk. But that being said, there's a lot of land that really slips through the cracks on these sales, and land is less competitive, and land is really great because it's low risk, right? You don't have to worry about tenants, trash, or termites. With the land, you can go and you can flip it quite quickly, and you can get this land often dirt cheap. So Florida's a great place to investigate. Hop on the phone, call the treasurer's office. Now, I'm actually going to throw in a number 3 that is a bit unique. Before we continue, I'm Dustin Hahn. We've done hundreds of these deals all over the US. If you like the channel, go ahead, subscribe, ask us a question in the comments or in the live stream here. Be happy to answer it. What's my experience? I wrote one of the best-selling books called The ABCs of Tax Lien Deeds. You can get that for free in the description if you like. So coming back to over-the-counter deeds, I'm going to throw in Arizona, even though it's technically a lien state, but here's why I'm going to do that, okay? So the reason I'm going to throw in Arizona is the fact that in Arizona, there are, thousands and thousands of tax liens that don't get sold, okay? So you can go and do an over-the-counter tax lien, like Maricopa County, Phoenix just had their sale, 4.4 million people there, right? It's a lot of people. So what do we do there? How do we get strategic in Maricopa County, or the other big counties are Tucson, or the city of Tucson, which is going to be Pima County, 1 million people. Mesa, another large city, 500,000 people. So here's a couple strategies for you to start finding some of this dirt cheap land. Okay. So with these liens within Arizona and the redemption period, you can find liens that sometimes are basically having, 2 or 3 months, or they're already past the redemption period, meaning they've been expired or they've been a lien that hasn't sold for over 2 or 3 years. And with these liens, you can literally buy them and start foreclosing on them right away. So this is a great way to get even like land dirt cheap, because the lien is only going to be a fraction of the property value, right? So that is why I want to include Arizona. Once again, call the treasurer's office, get to work, see what they have. Now, remember, you're putting in elbow grease to get some really good deals on this stuff. If this were easy, everybody would do it. Now, it's not that hard compared to, becoming a doctor, becoming a lawyer, anything like that. Real estate just it's really funny within the game of real estate, because obviously YouTube is one of the best things for us to learn, right? We can get our education for free, which is great. However, there is this misconception when it comes to real estate where people get just so sad, and they get so sad because they'll go to a sale or they'll, buy a course, and they think there's like magic beans or fairy dust that's just going to happen. This stuff does take a little bit of work. Okay. If you put in a couple hours a week, you will get that momentum. So I just want to put a precursor in there that it does take some work. Okay. So if you're allergic to hard work, don't do it. But you also have to look at the alternative. What are you doing for your job, your work? Like before this, I was working in the oil field, absolutely hated it. I literally used real estate as a way to get out of the oil field, which was great. Start traveling, moved to California, which was also very awesome. And real estate gave me that freedom to be able to travel the world and kind of do all the fun things, the typical classic cliche, like real estate really gave me freedom, and it did. What I like about real estate is the fact that I think 95% of all new businesses fail within like the first 5 years. With real estate, it's pretty black and white. You can look at a property and within a few minutes evaluate whether or not it is a good deal. So back on track here, moving along. For those of you guys just joining us, I'm Dustin Hahn, Tax Lien Deed investor. We're cruising here. We're talking about dirt cheap pennies on the dollar land through tax sales. So Colorado comes to mind for this stuff. Colorado has over-the-counter deed sales and basically works the same, right? So what you want to do in Colorado, I would focus at first on the top places. So Colorado is going to have 64 counties. Denver, largest city, Denver County, 727,000 people there. Colorado Springs, which is going to be in El Paso County, 500,000 people there. And Aurora, which is going to be in, how do I say this? I can't even say the name of the county. Aproe County. I butchered that name. But once again, call the treasurer, see what's going on in Colorado. Start finding these. Start doing some digging, okay? You have to be okay digging, getting your hands dirty, going through this stuff, all right? Because what's the other option in real estate? You can go pay market value for sure all day long and hope to get a deal, or you can get creative and do, what I like, tax lien and deed investing. So let's move on. Let's move on to Indiana. Indiana is also awesome. We've purchased properties in Indiana before. They often have over-the-counter deeds. However, Indiana also does have a redemption period as well when you buy it. So keep that in mind. And there's going to be some nuances. So you could have an over-the-counter deed that you can get, you can get the land that day. And then from there, you could go sell it the next day. All right. But some of these places will have a bit of a redemption period, like Texas can be 6-month redemption period as well. So Texas, 6-month redemption period on that. Indiana as well, but you can do a quiet title and speed that up to like 90 days. So in Indiana, there's 92 counties, Indianapolis being the largest, Myron County, 876,000 people. You got Fort Wayne, which is in Allen County, 270,000 population there. And then Evansville in Vanderburgh County with 119,000 folks in that wonderful county. So these are the large ones. And, I would start in the larger ones and see kind of what's shaking there. And then, start going through the smaller ones. If you live there in any of the places that you live, you should be making this a practice of yourself, or practice to, make this stuff work. You should know when the sales are, you should know what's going on. And then if you want to travel to some of these other places, then you can go ahead and do that. However, these days in the modern world, you can do a lot of these sales and buy these properties without actually going there. Back in the day, we would go and we would travel to these over-the-counter, or not auctions, but we'd show up because back then, technology wasn't nearly what it is today. But the nice thing now, you can get the list of the over-the-counter property. From there, you can do your research, start with Google Earth, all that sort of stuff, do your research, your title research, make sure the chain of liens has been notified correctly. And then if you're serious and you don't want to go there, you can use a service like We Go Look. You can run an ad on Facebook. You can have like an off-duty Uber driver go take pictures of the property. Depending on the price, sometimes it's nice to get 2 sets of pictures. If it's going to be obviously land, could be a little bit more tricky. You'll need to give them the plot locations and things like that. But this is really one of the best ways to get dirt cheap land for pennies on the dollar, especially because land isn't nearly as competitive, and there's lots of it. There are thousands of these pieces of land just sitting there right now. And right now you have a decision. You can go and try to find them, or you can not, and then hear about some success story about how somebody bought land, sold it, and made a lot of money. So thanks a lot for tuning in. If you want help with tax liens and deeds, we can build you a custom 4-step investment strategy that's going to save you 2 to 3 years of trial and error easily. We're going to help you exactly where to start. It's going to be a personalized approach. There's a link below in the description if you want to book one of those. At the end, we'll discuss what it could possibly be like to work together if it's a fit. If not, you'll still leave with a valuable strategy session, or you can check out some more of our videos here on the YouTube channel. So once again, ask a question in the comments. Go check out some of the other videos. Grab the book if you want. There's a link there. It is for free. Till tomorrow. See you then.